deputy. I've been at the department now, going on board in 2001 as chief deputy for my predecessor and serving as his chief deputy and executive counsel for 6 years. And then for the last 6, as Patrick said, as your elected and reelected commissioner of insurance for the past 6 years. And regulating insurance is truly a challenging position. I very much enjoy my role at the department. I enjoyed very much being chief deputy to Commissioner Woolley. And before that, my last 6 years in the State House, I served as chairman of the House Insurance Committee. And the reason I enjoy what I do so much today is because of the following mix, as I describe it. The combination of something very complex, insurance, combined with something absolutely necessary. Nothing happens at work or even at home, for that matter, without insurance. And finally, the part that I add to that mix that makes it so volatile is it's really expensive. So you're impacting folks in a big way when you do what Patrick and I and Darry and the rest of our staff do on a day in and day out basis. We help folks. The primary responsibility of the Department of Insurance is to be the consumer protector for folks buying insurance. And that means we're there to help them, as the Better Business Bureau is for all other forms of business. We're there to help them when they have a need, an issue, a question concerning insurance. And as I said, it's complex, it's expensive, and it's absolutely necessary. So with that background, I would like to talk to you a little bit today about career opportunities and your role, your potential role going forward in the insurance industry. And I'll start off by saying I believe what I'm about to tell you very deeply. I have 4 daughters back home. One's a doctor, one's a lawyer, one's a school teacher, and one's in the banking community. I've tried insurance with all 4 of them and haven't succeeded yet in talking any of them into a career in insurance. But I tell them what I'm about to tell you, and that is that it's a golden opportunity, that it is something that you can get great personal satisfaction out of, and that can provide you with a very comfortable living for a prolonged period of time. Insurance affects virtually everything we do in our life and in business. It provides peace of mind for people and things we value. There are many forms of insurance, and you probably have at least one type of policy in place for yourself as we speak. Even though insurance is all around you, you may not know very much about it or the people who work in the industry. A career insurance is about helping individuals and business manage risk to protect themselves from unexpected losses and to anticipate potential problems. Working in insurance can be not only fulfilling on a personal level, but also can be financially rewarding as well. Many people are intimidated when they hear about insurance. They think it's boring, or that it's going to be all about sales and cold calling. But the truth is that one of the basic functions of the insurance industry is helping people when they need help the most. When a hurricane hits and someone's roof is damaged by a tree, one of the first people they're going to call is their insurance agent, who will work through the entire claims process with them hand in hand. When you get into an auto accident and need to find out what steps to take, again, one of the first calls you'll make is to your insurance agent. When you have a doctor's visit, most likely the bulk of your bill is paid up front by your health insurance, and if you have any questions on what may be covered, you call your insurance agent. Or if you lose a loved one, you'll be speaking with your insurance agent about possible life insurance benefits. Insurance is a stable yet thriving industry that provides a wide array of career possibilities. Whether you're in sales or accounting, or management or customer service, most jobs in the business sector can be found in the insurance industry. Working in insurance means you help people with their day-to-day insurance needs, explaining the choices available to them and helping them choose the most appropriate insurance coverage. You'll also be working with people during the claims process, ensuring that it goes smoothly. You can work in a variety of areas in the insurance industry. These include as a risk manager, an underwriter, a producer or agent, a customer service representative, or even as an actuary. Underwriters, for example, accept or reject risk on behalf of insurance companies. They assess the kind of insurance required by groups such as professional sports teams, or a city government, or even a shopping mall developer. Underwriters closely examine the organization's operation and its request for insurance, then decide what the insurance company should cover and how much it should charge for that coverage. The salary range for an insurance underwriter in Louisiana generally is between $50,000 and $80,000 a year. Loss adjusters are responsible for ensuring that those who have suffered a loss receive the compensation and assistance they're eligible to receive. Whether employed by the insurance company or working as an independent contractor, the loss adjuster investigates the accident, arranges medical treatment if necessary, and negotiates the final settlement to restore policyholders to where they were as closely as possible before their loss. Actuaries are problem solvers, and they put a price tag on probabilities. They're always in high demand because they are well-versed in finance and economics and are able to translate their conclusions into plain language. You'll hear from the Department of Insurance Chief Actuary as part of this seminar, as well as several other individuals with expertise in a variety of insurance professions. Major areas of opportunity in the insurance industry include auto insurance, life insurance, property and casualty insurance, health insurance, long-term care insurance, and many others. There is a lot of growth in the insurance industry and the jobs that go with it. For example, according to the Louisiana Workforce Commission, one of the top 20 fastest growing jobs in the Baton Rouge area is financial examiner. Most financial examiners work in the finance and insurance industry, the federal government or state government. Their average salary in Louisiana is about $80,000 a year. Over the next 10 years, those jobs are expected to increase by about 35% in the Baton Rouge area. For insurance producers or agents, the salary range in Louisiana is typically between $54,000 and $90,000 a year. The state's Workforce Commission has predicted that the number of producer jobs will grow by nearly 20% over the next 10 years. If you think you might be interested in a career in insurance, you can start exploring the industry while you're still a student through research, networking, and work experience, or through an internship or part-time job. We at the Louisiana Department of Insurance hire student workers in our various offices, consumer advocacy, human resources and public affairs, for example, where you can get a feel for what the industry is all about. I highly recommend, if you're interested in a career in insurance, that you reach out to us and see about the availability of such student worker positions in our Department of Insurance. We have long made that resource available to students, and many have taken advantage of it, including our Deputy Commissioner for Consumer Advocacy, who started as a student worker with us 20 years ago while attending law school here at Southern University. So I hope I've given you kind of a flavor for what's available in the insurance field for career opportunities. I really honestly believe that it's something that is a great opportunity for you for the decades to come as you finish your training and your education here at Southern. Look around for opportunities that interest you, that gratify you, that old saying that if you have a career opportunity, a career doing something that you enjoy doing, as I said before, as I do with my current position and did as Chief Deputy before for my predecessor, then you'll never, if you have a job doing something you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your life. And that is so true. It truly is a blessing to be able to have the opportunity to support yourself and your family while doing something that makes you feel good about getting up each morning and going to the workplace in whatever field of endeavor you choose. Baton Rouge itself, over the next 10 years, is projected to experience significant growth and economic development. The future is truly very bright for the Baton Rouge metropolitan area. It's been doing quite well for 10 years, and I think will continue to do well over the next 10 years. Again, providing opportunities in the insurance arena and in the financial examiner world that I think support and justify that projected 35% growth in job opportunities for financial examiners. I was a member of the legislature, as I said, for 19 years. And early on in those 19 years, I got appointed to the predecessor to the House Insurance Committee, which was the Commerce Committee. And the Commerce Committee still has jurisdiction over a wide variety of professions. Banking, cosmetology, used to have insurance, and many, many other professions. Their issues went before the Commerce Committee. And so I had the opportunity while serving on that committee to get a flavor for insurance issues. And in the early 90s, you're probably too young, but the dean will remember the collapse of what was headquartered here in Baton Rouge called Champion Insurance Company. And people went to jail, including the insurance commissioner at the time. And the company's failure and implosion cost the state $150 million through the guarantee fund that picked up the claims that were left behind by that failure. And as a result of that hit to the state, the then Speaker of the House, now the President of the Senate, John Alario, carved insurance out of commerce and created a standalone insurance committee in the House of Representatives, wanting it to focus on those insurance issues with the thought in mind that we would not have another Champion Insurance Company hit the state for $150 million of 1990 dollars. That's 22 years ago. That's probably more like $600, $700, $800 million in today's value. And so that first committee, for House Insurance Committee, I was appointed the vice chair of for the first 4 years of its existence. And then at the end of those 4 years, the chairman chose not to run again, and I became the chair for the next 6. And being involved on a day in and day out basis and seeing the volatile mix that I alluded to at the outset of my remarks about complexity, expense, necessity, it stimulated me. It motivated me to get more knowledge, more involvement, more hands-on engagement with insurance issues, recognizing that I could do stuff that made me feel pretty good about what I was doing every day and help a lot of folks in a very important part of their lives. And as I said in my remarks, that's true for the 90,000 licensed agents, we now call them producers, that work all across our state. They're doing the same thing for their clients on a day-in, day-out basis that I'm doing for the state as a whole in the insurance world. So I think it is an enjoyable and challenging and gratifying career path. Yes, sir. And we reached out to them as Florida reached out to us in 2005. In 2004, Florida had been visited by 4 major hurricanes. Interestingly enough, 3 of them, 2 from the Atlantic and 1 from Ivan from the Panhandle, from the Pensacola area, crisscrossed the city of Orlando. So they had 3 hurricanes come through Orlando, Disney World, in a 30-day period of time, or maybe a 6-week period of time. And in their recovery and in the aftermath of of those devastating hits in 2004, their then commissioner, and he's still the commissioner, came to us with their experience, their emergency rules, their processes, their data collection system that we took, and according to Commissioner McCarty, who interestingly enough was my predecessor as president last year of the NAIC. He's the immediate past president this year. We took what he gave us and took it up a notch, he says, and made it a little better from a consumer point of view, from a efficiency point of view, than what they had had. And I might add, we had the worst, Katrina was the worst insured loss event in the history of insurance. Bigger than 9/11, bigger than Hurricane Andrew, bigger than the Japanese earthquake of 2 years ago. Worst, largest, if you will, insured loss event in the history of insurance anywhere in the world. And so with that experience, Florida's experience, built upon by us with our Katrina experience, we did reach out to primarily New Jersey and New York and share with them what we had done. Florida and the NAIC provided the data collection. We're going to Congress with what we think would be things that would be of minor cost to the federal budget, but a big help to folks in coastal areas. Heretofore, it had only been us on the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, dealing with these issues. Primarily, Florida was looked upon as being dysfunctional, and it truly is. Their property insurance market is in disarray. Their residual market, Citizens, is the largest insurer in the state of Florida today, and that is a disaster waiting to happen. And as such, it's the fourth largest property insurer in the United States of America, doing business only there in the state of Florida. So they keep going to Washington looking for help in the form of some kind of bailout, some kind of safety net under their exposure, and the rest of the country keeps saying, we're not going to bail you out. You created that mess, you fix it. We know it's going to be tough medicine for your folks, but you have to do it yourself. It remains to be seen what will happen if a Katrina or an Andrew visits Florida, and whether that hard line will be retained or not. It was not done to us. In the aftermath of Katrina, Congress and the administration reached out and lent us huge help. And they pointed to that, the Northeast did, when they had the effects of Hurricane Sandy and got substantial help as well. But we are advocating, us on the Gulf Coast, and trying to get support from those in the Northeast now that they're affected by things like named storm deductibles and such. We're advocating for a package of bills that would help without bailing out those who refuse to do the responsible thing. Actually, Texas is as bad a property insurance situation as Florida is. Their commissioner, actually he's the immediate past commissioner, he left office 2 years ago, took over their residual market and put it in supervision, in effect, because of the disarray that it is in the state of Texas as well. So our system, our residual market, Citizens, is smaller today as a percentage of market and as a absolute policy count than it was the day before Katrina hit. And our system, which we actually copied from Florida before they emasculated it, has now been copied in Mississippi and North Carolina as a model for how to best provide a residual market without putting the state at great risk by making them the insurer for hurricanes. Insurance company point of view, why would they do business in a place like Baton Rouge with exposure to hurricanes as we have? And I had a meeting last week with State Farm that I've been having some rather public disagreements with of late, and we had that very discussion about Baton Rouge, because Baton Rouge is kind of in right now, and the industry really likes Baton Rouge as a market. And most of them, State Farm has pulled up somewhat in their writings over the past 18 months, but before that, it was wide open. While there were lots of restrictions placed on places like Houma New Iberia, Lafayette. Baton Rouge was wide open for all companies, and they were competing, and that competition was keeping prices lower than in places like I just ticked off. But as I told the State Farm folks, I appreciate it, I like it, I want you to keep doing it, but do you realize that as the crow flies, we're only about 50 miles from that Gulf of Mexico that you're so afraid of. It's probably more like 60 or 70 miles, but it is kind of like Orlando, exposed to hurricanes as well. But the answer to your question really is, companies can manage their exposure if they are smart about it. And companies always think they're smart in what they're doing. They think they're going to be profitable when they price their product at such and such a level, and they write business in such and such an area. And one of the real keys to successfully writing business in an exposed state, a coastal state like Louisiana, like Massachusetts all the way down to Miami and around to Mexico, the key is the international reinsurance marketplace. Reinsurance is insurance for insurance companies. And what companies do typically is they'll buy a reinsurance policy that says for the next hurricane that we get hit for claims, after we pay out the first $20 million, everything above that goes to our reinsurer. We continue to adjust the claims, but they reimburse us everything we pay out over $20 million. I use that as a hypothet. The reinsurance marketplace is international. It is 2/3 of the capacity is from offshore, we call it, outside of the United States. Places like London, places like Bermuda, places like Zurich and Paris and other locations around the world where investors invest their money, typically on a year-in and year-out basis, in the reinsurance marketplace. So that affords companies that want to do business in a coastal state exposed to hurricanes protection against losing everything. They take on a limited amount of exposure, whatever they can afford, and then they pass off to these international reinsurers, and that helps us because it allows us to spread that inordinate risk that we have to hurricanes around the world, not just trying to spread it across Louisiana to Shreveport or something. We're able, through the reinsurance marketplace, to spread that risk all around the world. And that's how they can profitably do business, even on Grand Isle or Key West, for that matter. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, talk to you about what I sincerely believe is a great career opportunity, one that you will get the kind of satisfaction I described I receive in doing what I do on a day in and day out basis, and the people that are on the ground where the rubber meets the road, I tell my agent friends all the time, interacting with consumers on a day in and day out basis, getting the same gratification from their work in helping their clients that I do as well. So I would urge you to take a close look at insurance as a career path and look to us. Contact us. I mentioned those student job opportunities that we have, but beyond that, we would welcome your groups as classes or individual students with an interest to come to the department, introduce yourself at the front door, and tell them the commissioner said for you to come take a look around and sit down with some of our folks and interact with them about health insurance or auto insurance or long-term care insurance and get a flavor for what we do and how we do it. I would truly encourage you to do that. And thank you very much for the invitation.